Hi everyone, I'm Debrah, the Veterinary Wellbeing Program Director at DLEAH, and today I'm going to be talking about managing stressful moments, particularly those at work. Before I delve into specific strategies, I want to take a little bit of time to help us reconsider our perception of stress. For many of us, the word stress tends to hold a negative connotation, leading us to stress about our stress. The way we think about stress matters, and so it can be helpful to remind ourselves and reframe stress in a more neutral context. Stress is how the brain and body respond to any demand. We all experience stress, and not all stress is bad. The body's stress response helps us to meet the challenges we face regularly. An example of this may include the feelings of nervousness that one experiences before a big presentation. That nervousness can further motivate someone to prepare and practice. Physical exercise can also be an example of an intentional activation of the body's stress response for the benefit of our health. While it's helpful to remind ourselves that our bodies and brains are responding to help us meet a challenge, I also want to acknowledge that prolonged activation of our body's stress response can impact our overall health and our tolerance to stress. Living during the COVID-19 pandemic is certainly a circumstance under which many of us have had a prolonged activation of our body's stress responses. We may find we have a heightened sensitivity to stressors, and we may respond more quickly or with a different level of intensity towards a stressor than we have in the past. And so sometimes it's helpful to revisit strategies about managing stressful moments. Even if you're familiar with this information, it may resonate differently for who you are today. So first I'll talk about proactive strategies, or those strategies to have in mind and practice beforehand, knowing that you will inevitably encounter a stressful moment in the course of work and living. The first thought that I encourage everyone to keep in mind is to be kind to yourself. Stressful moments are a part of life. Rather than focusing on eliminating stress or always being calm, managing stress is about having ways to support ourselves in transitioning back to a less activated state. Humans have a negativity bias, or a tendency to notice and give greater weight to negative rather than positive experiences and thoughts. This bias is something that helped us survive as a species. Know that the negativity bias tends to become exacerbated in times of stress, and remember to be kind to yourself. Sometimes for me, I need a reminder to talk to myself or treat myself as I would a good friend. We tend to be very good at extending compassion towards others and can use that to extend some compassion towards ourselves. Sometimes it's also reminding myself to step away from the unrealistic expectations of perfection and to recall that I'm doing the best that I can at this moment, knowing what I know and with the resources at hand. Another proactive strategy is to pay attention to what stress feels like in your body. What subtle body cues or sensations let you know that you're feeling stressed or slipping towards a stress response? For many of us, we may have a subtle shift in our breathing, where it becomes quick and shallow. This is our body's way of increasing our oxygen flow so that we can focus. Or maybe your heart starts pumping to give you more energy. Maybe your body temperature changes. These subtle changes can happen in the body before we consciously recognize that we are in a moment of stress. Having awareness of what your cues are can help you better strategize in that moment. And finally, consider your environment. Knowing that you will inevitably encounter stress, consider what you can set up around you that can help you return to some sense of ease, even if it's only a little. This can include making sure that you have water at your desk or an object or item that can ground you or maybe reconnect you to positive experiences beyond a momentary stressor. This can include having a photo that takes you back to a cherished memory or an old birthday card filled with well wishes. It can include having the words of gratitude that clients have offered to you nearby or on display. For me, I keep a photo collage of my dog at my desk. His face always brings a smile to mine, and in moments when I feel very stuck, seeing his picture helps me connect with a sense of my life beyond the present stressful moment. Additionally, knowing your resources also means knowing who you can turn to for help when you need it. And so I'll talk a little bit about managing stress in the moment. In the moment, as previously mentioned, if you can, Keep awareness of what your body is telling you. This awareness can help you determine how you want to move forward with a situation. A part of your choice in moving forward may include finding space for yourself, and this space can include taking a break, stepping away and returning later, or asking for help. Particularly in a client-facing role, for example, remember your resources and that it's okay to ask for help. As you keep awareness of your body's stress response, if you are becoming so activated that you can no longer continue a conversation, it's important to ask for help. Similarly, sometimes a client's stress response is limiting their ability to engage in conversation, and sometimes stepping away and asking a coworker, one of your resources, to re-engage that client may be the reset that the client needs for their stress response to deactivate enough to have a conversation. Sometimes the space that you find is an internal space. If your stressful moment is one that involves dialogue or talking to another person, consider taking a deep breath before any response you give. It only takes a moment, and though that deep breath isn't necessarily going to bring you to a complete state of ease, it can offer you a pause to consider how you want to move forward. After a stressful moment, consider if there is a small relaxation strategy that you can use to support yourself in finding some ease. This may include taking deep breaths, using your breath to signal to your body and brain that it does not need to stay in an activated state. It may be a grounding activity to anchor you to the present moment, like taking a minute to pay attention to the sensation of your feet on the ground. It may simply be the action of releasing tension by bringing your shoulders to your ears and releasing them down. As mentioned before, with consideration to the environment, if it offers you some ease, you can turn to a cue that you have set up, like making sure that you get that drink of water or connecting with a photo or item that helps keep you more balanced. And again, notice your internal dialogue and if it has perhaps been overly influenced by the negativity bias due to the stressor that you're experiencing. With that, I want to share a few final overarching thoughts. So be kind to yourself. We have all had the experience where most of our day went well, but it's the one difficult thing that happens to stick with you. This is again that negativity bias at play. Knowing this bias is there, it's helpful to recognize throughout the day when you have neutral to positive experiences and allowing yourself to acknowledge those moments as well. Give yourself permission to give weight or value to the experiences that were okay or even good throughout the day. And again, remember that we're all doing the best that we can at any given moment, knowing what we know and with the resources at hand. Secondly, find time to decompress. When our stress cycle gets activated, it's important that we support ourselves in processing all that stress that is in our bodies. Throughout the workday and after, it's important to find opportunities to decompress. That may include getting away from your workspace, making sure that you take a lunch to get away and energize, making sure that you're taking your breaks throughout the day. And self-care can help with our overall ability to tolerate stressors. It helps with our sensitivity to stress. For example, we may feel more resourced and equipped to manage stress if we're fueled by food or well rested from getting a good enough sleep. Thank you for watching this video and taking the time to listen and learn about managing moments of stress.